An International Development Government United Nations Introduction. International development or global development is classified or defined as aid to countries, but it's all about capitalism. If a poor country has natural resources that others want, the big engineering industrial companies from the modern West, mainly American and British companies, Canadian companies in the mining sector, European, Russian and Chinese companies create big development projects in these countries in exchange for either future money in the way of debts or barter for natural resources. Look at Saudi Arabia and other Middle East countries. Without oil, they're poor countries. Because of oil, firstly big companies were created to extract that oil, then a modern infrastructure was created. From there it got bigger, because Saudi Arabia had money from oil. They built a university, airports, some roads, an internet infrastructure, etc. China built a train for Kenya from Nairobi to Mombasa. They did it in exchange for something from Kenya, probably the promise of extracting natural resources. This is a sector of big money capitalism that we rarely hear about. The jobs are there worldwide for people with most skills who are willing to go to another country to live either for a while or permanently in exchange for a good salary. It doesn't have to be a high-tech skill. They need cooks everywhere around the world. Big companies around the world build big projects to make money. They might call it international aid, but nobody is doing this stuff for free or really out of the goodness of their hearts. Somebody is paying either with control of resources in that country or straight loans that have to be paid back at interest. Most third world or emerging nations have nothing. They do not have the means or technology to build simple things like a 3-story building or an asphalt road. They certainly do not have the technology to build a big electricity plant, a water plant, a railroad, etc. They need these things. Business tycoons have the means to create these things, so they broker deals where everybody benefits. On face, the United Nations is a non-profit agency geared for world peace and aid to underdeveloped nations, but in reality, it's a front for world capitalism through the Bank for International Settlements, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund to get their hooks into the poorer nations by building them stuff in exchange for getting their resources and otherwise controlling them through loans that can't be paid back, so they get leverage to control these poor countries. Everybody wins. The bleeding heart liberals say the big bad Western companies are exploiting poor countries, but in truth, these poor countries live in Stone Age conditions. If a big company comes in and says we want this or that, in exchange, we'll build this or that, that's a good deal for some of these people who had a desperate lifestyle before these capitalists came in. There is a convoluted article at en.wikipedia.org/wiki/international_development. The code term or the big idea is sustainable development. Everybody pretends we're doing this so everybody wins. We create an economy that will sustain itself, but in truth it's about fast cash. I saw a video about some tribe on the Amazon River being bought out by some big logging company. They built them houses and brought in electricity. The tribe leader was half drunk. He said in good English, "We got our beer, the kids got their ice cream, what's not to like?" The bleeding heart liberals would be seething because the tribe sold their primitive lifestyle for modern comforts. To the tribe, it's a good thing. They're moving up in the comforts of modern society. The activists say they're destroying the rainforest. On face, they say they're not exploiting the land or the people. They say they're building environmentally friendly industries that help the people and the planet over the long run. International development is defined as international aid distinct from disaster relief and humanitarian aid. International development usually encompasses these areas: foreign aid, governance, healthcare, education, poverty reduction, gender equality, disaster preparedness, infrastructure, economics, human rights, environment. Industrialization is good. Much of the world still lives in poverty. Many places have sporadic electricity, no running water, no internet. This book covers international development, the United Nations, government contact information for most countries and worldwide non-profit organizations. Books about non-profit corporations are at number 025.04, number 361.70, number 362.1-362.8, number 658.15, 658.8, HD 62.6, HF 5415, HG 4027, and HV 41.2 at the library. Legal books about non-profits are at number 346.430 or KF 1388 at the library. The 49 volumes on international development jobs are as follows. Volume 1. An International Affairs Relations Job Guide. Volume 2. World Jobs in Government. Volume 3. A World Business Job Guide. Volume 4. A World Business Job Website Guide. Volume 5. A United Nations Guide. Volume 6. A list of United Nations affiliated non-profit organizations/NGOs, no websites. Volume 7. A list of UN NGOs in the disabilities sector. Volume 8. An International Development Job Guide. Volume 9. An International Development Organization Guide. Volume 10. An International Development Organization Website Guide 1. Volume 11. An International Development Organization Website Guide 2. Volume 12. An International Organization Address Guide. Volume 13. A United Kingdom International Development Job Guide. Volume 14. A Canada International Development Job Guide. Volume 15. Worldwide lists of international development non-profit organizations by country. Volume 16. A U.S. Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide. Volume 17. A Canada Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide. Volume 18. A United Kingdom Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide. Volume 19. An Ireland Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide. Volume 20. A European Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide by country. Volume 21. A Latin American Caribbean Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide by country. Volume 22. An Africa Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide by country. Volume 23. An Asian Middle East Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide by country. Volume 24. An Oceania/Pacific Islands Government Non-Profit Professional Organization Guide by country. Volume 25. A Think Tank Policy Group Guide. Volume 26. A World Non-Profit Medical Job and Volunteer Guide. Volume 27. A World Non-Profit Organization Guide. Volume 28. A World Non-Profit Job Guide. Volume 29. NGOs by World Regions in Japan. Volume 30. A list of NGOs by country from the Nippon Institute for Research Advancement. Volume 31. An Australia Non-Profit Guide. Volume 32. A New Zealand Non-Profit Guide. Volume 33. Country info from the U.S. federal government. Volume 34. A government website guide for most countries. Volume 35. A World Business Guide by country. Volume 36. A Multinational Corporation Guide 1. Volume 37. A Multinational Corporation Guide 2. Volume 38. Business, expat, and tourist websites for some countries. Volume 39. A Worldwide Search Engine Guide for some countries. Volume 40. A Big List of World Trade Websites. Volume 41. A World Trade Guide by country and region. Volume 42. A World Trade Center Guide. Volume 43. A World Trade Website Guide 1. Volume 44. A World Trade Website Guide 2. Volume 45. A World Bank Guide. Volume 46. A World Law Guide. Volume 47. World's Biggest Volunteer Guide. Volume 48. A World Telephone Guide. Volume 49. A Worldwide Etiquette Guide.